Etymology of California, the name California, ever wondered? You ever wondered where the name of California come from? A lot of states, like half the states, the names came from Native American names. So is California a Native American name? There's actually three theories. There's three theories about where California comes from. I believe one over the other two. So let's start out with the other two. One is it comes from a Spanish word, which means furnace. California is hot as fuck. It's, the temperature, it's hot there, so therefore they were calling it a furnace. Calida fornax, or Caliente Horno. Caliente Horno. California? No, Calida fornax. California? Calida fornax. California. So, that I don't know. Then a Native American phrase, California could have came from the Native American phrase Californo, which that sounds close, right? Californo. And of course, Californo means go fuck yourself, which is not correct. Actually, it means like high hills or high mountains. So everybody gone surfing, surfing USA. California comes from the Latin or Spanish phrase as well. Or the other one, and this is the one that I believe, California was actually named after a black goddess. A black goddess, a black warrior, a black woman, a black, what is that, the warrior princess. So a warrior princess, a black goddess named Califia, and Califia apparently ruled over lands called California. So Califia ruled over lands called California, and there you go, that's, Nefertiti, Black Betty, right, Candace Owens. So it's very ironic that there's only like 17 black folks in California, but it's actually named after a black goddess who ruled over, black lands, who was just filled with only black women. No men. So Califia is a black goddess who ruled over California, which was an island full of beautiful black women, and there's absolutely no men there. So, some kind of dreamland, okay, so let's, that's the one that I think. Now let's, California, it says, Latin or Spanish phrases, hot furnace, Calida fornax, in Latin, Calida fornax, Caliente Horno. Caliente Horno. Going up to Caliente Horno, just doesn't sound right. California pioneer Josefa Carrillo de Fitch was convinced California was an indigenous word. When interviewed about her recollections of early California, Josefa said she remembered her mother saying that California was an Indian word, and that in Spanish it means high hill. And then Californo, indigenous phrase meaning high mountain. So the indigenous phrase, Californo, that sounds close. California, Californo. So maybe, maybe both of those worlds just, maybe the indigenous was calling it Californo, and then you had, this, it was a novelist in the 1500s. Some guy just, just dreamed up this, beautiful land, and I'll get into the specific details, but it was a novelist that come up with Califia and the, the Queen of California. So where did this Queen of California, I'm going to go with that. Californo, I think that's the best second, I don't think it's a Spanish hot furnace thing. But Californo, I think it's either Californo or Califia, this black goddess. And I'll tell you why, because Colorado, has a bunch of fucking Spanish too, so you have all these Spanish conquistadors, and they're reading this Spanish novel, which is talking about the exploits of the Spanish conquistadors, but he's just, sitting there dreaming up shit. And then you're reading, and so that's different than when you, watch stuff. When you're reading, it's your imagination, so it's just kind of probably, all these conquistadors are reading this filth, and then they're, percolating all, brand new thoughts of what they want to do now that they're over here. So Califia is a black goddess, a black warrior queen. California is a mythical utopia where the Amazonian black beauties all live. These are strong, stout Amazonian women. All men, or no men, All women, an island straddled with nothing but gorgeous black women. This cornucopia, utopia, oh my God, this cornucopia, utopia. This is a cornucopia, this is a utopia, cornucopia, a cornucopia of utopias. The exploits of Espladian. The exploits of Espladian. Is that supposed to be like cool Spanish name? Oh, Leroy. The exploits of Leroy. Leroy Espladian. Alright, Espladian. This is written by Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo. So, Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo, just Montalvo from here on out. Montalvo wrote a different book called Amedes of Gaul. Amedes of Gaul, which was very popular, and then the exploits of Espladian is the son. Espladian is a knight who is the son of Amedes. And so Amedes of Gaul, we're going to hear about Amedes of Gaul, you know. So these two novels, Montalvo, that was the, you know, big entertainment back then were novels, right? So you didn't have no music, you didn't have no fucking TV and shit, so you read goddamn books. And so the exploits of Espladian was published in Seville, 1510, before Europeans had reached the northern Pacific coast. Las Sergas recounts the adventures of a knight named Espladian, the son of Amedes, the hero of Montalvo's earlier novel. Now, during an important juncture in the novel, Espladian has to help defend the city of Constantinople. Among those assaulting the city is a group of women warriors led by Queen Califia. Queen Califia rules over an island called California. And here is an excerpt. I tell you that on the right-hand side of the Indies, there was an island called California, which was very close to the region of the earthly paradise. This island, inhabited by black women, and there were no males among them at all, for their way of life was similar to that of the Amazons. The island was made up of the wildest cliffs and the sharpest precipices found anywhere in the world. These women had energetic bodies and courageous, ardent hearts, and they were very strong. Their armor was made entirely out of gold, which was the only metal found on the island, as were the trappings of the fierce beast that they rode once they were tamed. As were the trappings of the fierce beast that they rode once they were tamed. It's English translation from Lands of Promise and Despair. In the novel, California is this wonderful, fantastic place, right? Fantastic, exotic, but just warrior women, fine beasts, crazy landscapes. So Montalvo, in Montalvo's story, of course, you're not going to have Califia, who's going to be an enemy for long. So they're, you know, Constantinople, they're fighting for each other. But then they switch loyalties. Princess, Queen Califia, the goddess, Califia, the goddess who ruled over California, becomes Christian, and she marries Espladian's cousin. So she becomes one of the family. So you have Bernal Diaz de Castillo, who was a soldier in Cortez's campaign against the Aztecs, says that the first time he and his comrades saw the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, we were amazed. We said it looked like the enchanted things that they tell us, that they tell of in the book of Amadis, the true history of the conquest of New Spain. So that's, you know, when they were going conquering the Aztecs. When they were conquering the Aztecs, they thought of this fucking guy, this novelist, you know, Montalvo. They thought of Montalvo's Amadis and Espladian. Amadis and Espladian. Where's Amadis at? Where's Espladian? Old T-Bone? Good old T-Bone, is that who you're... We don't know who exactly gave California its name, so who started saying it, who was the first one to say it, and who kept saying it. By the 1540s, though, Spanish explorers are already referring to the peninsula as California. So 1540s, California's been called, you know, California for goddamn 400 fucking years, over, you know, nearly 500 fucking years. Now, when they were first talking about California, they only meant Baja California, the fucking peninsula, which they thought was an island. And the existence of Alta California wouldn't be confirmed until Vizcaino's 1602 voyage. So the Spanish conquistadors didn't even know California, the state, the inland, Alta California, Baja, Alta, even existed until 1602. But Baja California, that's what started, right? They started calling that Baja California, California, then eventually it became the state. Now when people say California, it's the state, and you have to say Baja when you mean the peninsula. But that's where it began. That's where it began. They thought it was the island, and instead of beautiful black, Amazonian goddesses, there was actually Native Americans, the Pomo and the Maidu and the Natanuqua. The Natanuqua and the Maidu and the Pomo. And some other ones but that's good, Maidu, Pomo, Natanuqua. Everybody gone surfing, surfing USA. Everybody gone surfing, California love. In the city of Compton. Dangerous Minds, that had a pretty indelible. There's a lot of basically all your favorite movies are filmed in, goddamn California, right? So if you like any goddamn movie, probably filmed in California. Like Dangerous Minds, Michelle Pfeiffer, Coolio. If you can't even reach me, how can you teach me, huh? As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's not much left. Because I've been blasting and laughing that even my mama thinks so long. Well, fuck. Well, you get the point. You get the point. So an entire island full of black warrior women. Do you want to hear that? I do. I want to hear it. All right. Been spending most of our lives living in a gangster's paradise. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left because I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you walking. Or you and your homies might be lined in chalk. I really hate to trip, but I got a lock. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homos want to be like. On my knees in the night saying prayers in the street light. Been spending most of lives living in the gangster. So, Esplodian. Yeah, Esplodian. Yeah, you know what? Of course, this is probably written by a damn man, right? Look at this patriarchal, a whole island, just black warrior women, huh? Nothing but black warrior women. That's the dream. That's the best dream in the world. That patriarchal son of a bitch. That patriarchal son of a bitch. Isn't that like the Island of Sirens? Esplodian. Hello, I'm Esplodian. What you doing, Esplodian? Just hanging out. Cortez. What do we know about Hernando? Hernando Cortez. There is no Hernando. It's Hernan. Yet Hernando de Alarcon. So who started calling it California? Hernan Cortez isn't going to get there till 1535. He sent Diego de Becerra and Fortune Ximenez there, so 1533. Fucking Hernan Cortez. Fuck you, Cortez. But Cortez is often credited with being the first person to apply the name California to the Baja Peninsula. But researchers believe it was more likely one of the men he assigned to do some advanced exploration of the South Sea. Baja. And Baja and just like four-wheeling and shit. Diego de Becerra, Fortune Ximenez, under the direction of Cortez, landed near the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula, 1533. They're the earliest explorers who would have likely have applied the name California to the peninsula, thinking it was an island. Cortez did not reach Baja Peninsula until 1535, 2 years after Diego de Becerra and Fortune Ximenez had already got there. He tried to establish a colony called La Paz under a royal charter granted him that land. So he tried to establish La Paz, and it didn't fucking work. So who gives a shit with court? I mean, Diego de Becerra and Fortune Jimenez, this is 1533. Now, fast forward 7 years, Hernando de Alarcon. Alarcon is, he was actually sent by the Viceroy Mendoza, who was an enemy of Hernan Cortez. But let's see, 1540 expedition, they went to verify Cortez, the discoveries, and they went to the inhospitable lands known as California, and there he, apparently named the peninsula after the fabled island in Las Serges. So he's the motherfucker that named it. Hernando de Alarcon. Or at least he says this peninsula is named after the fabled island in Las Serges, the novel, So there's no question that Hernando de Alarcon used California over and over again, said it came from the book, right, with the black warrior princesses or what have you. So whether this is the first use of the name to refer to those lands or whether he intended the name as mockery. That's weird, mockery, because they talked about California as being inhospitable. Oh yeah, look at this inhospitable lands. It's like saying Greenland, right, in Iceland, just to confuse everybody. Look at this crap, Badlands. Let's call it Goldlands, and everybody will think it's great. So, Alarcon provides a clear link from the literary imaginary California to the real place, but his usage cannot be proven to be the actual origin, and that the name might predate him. Yeah, definitely. The name definitely predates him, but it was in constant use by 1540. So we definitely know by 1540. So, 350-something fucking years it's been California, 100%. And probably 1533, and if it's a Native American word, and they just kind of, Spanishificated, Hispanolinated. They may have Hispanolinated a Native American word. So, what am I trying to say here? Everybody gone surfing USA. Yeah, the land of beautiful black women only has a 6% black population. So, ironic, is it not? The land that's named after Queen, the black queen of the black women. 6%. Hardly any black people in the land of blacks. The land of the black women. How come there's hardly any black people in the land of black women? That's your problem, California. You don't have enough Tupacs. You don't have enough rappers. That's your problem, California.